Hello, everyone. Today we have the director, the filmmaker of Last Chance, Charlene, along with, I believe, our lead actress and one of our producers, Allie. Is that correct?
She's one of our actors as well. She plays Charlene's mom.
Oh, that's right. You do play Charlene's mom. Oh my gosh, I didn't recognize you with the glasses. So I was like, is she a producer? She has to be a producer. But please, Tony, tell us a little bit about the inspiration for this film. Tell us how you found Allie and Allison for this project. Take it away.
Yeah, well, Last Chance Charlene is about an actor, a struggling actor who's trying to break in as a screenwriter, but also has to mourn the death of her brother by suicide. And this is, inspired by my own journey of being an actor who's trying to be a screenwriter while also dealing with big time grief because I lost my grandmother to suicide about 10 years ago. And I wanted to write something that was personal, that I could do on a very, very low budget, which we did. And we wrote it in 2020, December, and we filmed it in June of 2021. I knew Allison Ewing. She's a Bay Area actor, and we've worked on a bunch of projects, and I love her. And I originally was writing it for me to star in, Last Chance Charlie, and then I rewrote it so that she could have the lead because I thought it made better sense for that, and I would take a small supporting role. And then Allie Mills is a mutual friend of one of my other friends who's an actor, Jeremy Ray Valdez, who was in the film, and he said, "Oh, you need to talk to Allie. She would be great for one of the roles. And you share faith, and she's this really, iconic actor from that TV show called The Wonder Years." And I was like, what? So I sent her the script, and she called me or texted me late one night, like 10:30 at night as I was slipping into bed, you up? It was kind of like one of those booty calls, just kidding. And we ended up talking for like an hour and a half to midnight one night and really connected on a personal level and spiritual level. And then we just found she was a great fit to play Charlene's mom. And that's the story right there. It's so awesome.
That's fantastic. So I know that a lot of people who are watching this Q&A, they're going to be watching this Q&A before our festival starts next week, because we're going to have all the films available on demand. And some people may watch the film and they want to be like, oh, I want to meet the filmmaker and, some of the actresses. And so that's why they're going to navigate over towards the Q&A. So we're going to assume that the people watching this interview have either seen this film or haven't seen it yet. So at the end of this Q&A, they may become, more curious about this film. What was the process like? Like, how long did it take for you all to shoot this? Did you shoot it locally in the Bay Area? Like, how did you find your crew? Because I know that finding the crew, a lot of tech professionals who actually want to get into this industry, they know nothing about how to assemble a crew. So how did you do all of that?
Oh my gosh. I run a company called Brave Maker. It's a nonprofit. We've been in existence for about almost 5 years now. And we just have collected a really great cast and crew here in the Bay Area. So about 90% of our crew and cast was from the Bay Area. Allie flew up from Los Angeles, which was really great. We shot it in a miraculous 13 days. And I'd love for both of them to share a little bit about the experience. I know, Allie, you shared a lot about being involved with this crew after having, 50 some years in the business. And Allison has been working in the Bay Area and going down to LA. So please, you two share a little bit about what your experience was like doing this film in such a quick way.
Allie, take it away, because I know we're losing you soon.
Okay. I think one of the most amazing things about Tony as a director is the crew that he has assembled. Brave is a group of extremely diverse young people. I say young because I'm older, but it's a new wave of filmmaking to me. They're all very passionate young filmmakers that, the DP, the costume designers, the light, everyone that was doing the light, even down to the sweet kids going to get food for everybody. We all spoke early in the morning before we started. A little prayer was said. I'm actually, someone who's spiritual, so that was very moving to me. But mostly Tony said, "What did you learn yesterday?" And everybody said something. "And what do you want to learn today?" And then at the end of the day, we all gathered again to say what we'd learned that day. I mean, it was really, you really felt like you were in a village.
I love that.
They were all very purposely picked diverse from all kinds of backgrounds that Tony has that gathered, and they're mostly young film students, very passionate about film, and that changed everything for me. It made me want to be, I'm sure Allison feels the same way, just be on my best game, like in every way, like in terms of generosity, in terms of why we're all doing acting, movies, film. What are we trying to say? This was about a very deep subject, suicide. So we moved really fast, but we were so concentrated and focused, and there was so much respect on the set. And I've just never seen anything like it. And I've been in the business, honestly, I'm 71, but I was 5 when I started. So that's a lot of 65 years. And I've never seen that kind of, assembled passion and respect. And I really am hoping that it's the new wave of young filmmakers. It's awesome. So kudos to Tony.
Thank you, Allie.
Allison, go on.
And I feel like that's saying so much about your experience, because, like, because of the experience that you had, it's like, you're not going to think twice about working with Tony again in the future. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things where it's like, especially as an actor, if you have a bad experience working with a director or like, a filmmaker, it's like, I don't care how much money you're going to offer me. Like, I just, it's like a lot of the times, like, you just don't want to put your, like mental health and stuff, like, at stake. So I just think that that's amazing that Tony was able to create. I'm not surprised that he was able to create that community. So that's just incredible how you ended up getting connected to Tony, like, for this project.
I know.
And
interestingly, I was working on a soap opera with his close writing partner friend, Jeremy, who's also in the movie and wonderful. He plays Allison's husband, right, Allison?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he's a wonderful actor. And we connected in the same way in this vast CBS complex, of the soap opera world. We connected on a very deep level a couple of times on the set, even though he plays a police officer and I'm the lead character's sister. So it was this random thing, but we had a very deep connection and a respect for one another as actors. So when he called me about Tony, I immediately took that call, because I trust Jeremy. So that's kind of how this all works. You develop relationships. Now I'm, close to Allison and Tony and a lot of the people on the set. So, we're going to work together again, because that's just how this all works, which is awesome.
And Allie, I have a question for you before we end up losing you. Like, if people want to get connected with you, if people want to, like, reach out to you, are you on social media? What is the best way to get in touch with you?
I'm actually not on social media. I probably, because now I'm back on I'm doing a run on a soap opera called General Hospital.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
For me to start Twitter. So I probably will one of these days, but I haven't had time to do it yet. As you can see, I have terrible computer skills. So if I stay for a much longer period, I think I'll figure out, I'll get one of my grandchildren to get me onto social media at some point. But through Tony,
Awesome.
I'm always reachable through Bravemaker. Because I'm a member of Brave
through Tony. Perfect.
Yes.
A brave member of Bravemaker.
I love that. Well, Allie, we loved having you. We loved hearing. And, really quick, what's next? I mean, you said that you're working on something with General Hospital, like, based upon your experience with Tony and Bravemaker, like, are you planning on, doing anything? Like, do you have stories that you want to tell, things that you yourself have always wanted to do, but never got the opportunity to do?
Well, that's the amazing thing about this realm of independent film, and why it's so amazing that people like Tony still have 2 feet above the ground, because it's really a challenge. It's a financial challenge. I mean, Tony has a life, we have lives, and it's expensive to make these movies, but you do
California, especially.
I wish I was a writer, but since Tony's a writer, I can stick with him. And but I am doing this right now, a long run on General Hospital. I don't know how long it's going to last. I'm coming back and I'm playing a homicidal maniac. That's an old character from the past, Heather Weber on General Hospital. It's crazy.
Love that.
So right now, that's what I'm doing. But after that, yes, I mean, this is my passion is really to tell important stories, because life's too short not to. It's, what are we doing here but telling human stories? So it's definitely to support people like Tony. I hope to do more with him and Allison, and but also just when stories come up, or I don't know if I'm ever going to write again. It's a new life for me. I've just lost my partner in the pandemic. So, you know, I always just say yes to things that are profound.
Hmm.
I think Allie is going to be doing some producing in the future because she's great. You called it out, Kristen. You thought she was a producer. She does have producing.
Calling it into existence.
That was pathetic.
Definitely.
All right,
I
Allie,
have
we
been
know
told
you
I
have
have
to
that
go.
gift, so.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm supposed to be somewhere at 8
Bye,
o'clock.
Allie.
Right.
Wonderful
Allie, was
to see
so
your
wonderful
face.
meeting with you.
Same to you. And now I say I press leave. That's what I do. I'm gonna
Bye.
be
Don't end the
attending
meeting
that
for all.
Yes.
I just want to say thank you to all the people in your film festival, you know, that are in the tech world and interested in filmmaking, because obviously it's become a technical experience, you know, with all of the amazing things about film now. That's a new thing for me too, because in the old days, we had one of these cameras.
Yep,
But, you know,
absolutely.
God bless you all for
You,
supporting the film industry, because we desperately need you. And, you know, God bless.
you too.
Allie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
And Allison, like, what was your experience like, working on this film and this project? Because, like, have you yourself like gone through grief? Like, what were some of the learnings that you gleaned from, working with Tony and this film?
Yes, I lost my cousin. He died by suicide. And so I did have a really profound and close personal experience that I say this, it was a source, but also a place that needed deep protection. And so as an actor, that's incredibly difficult to walk that line and find out what you can use and what you need to supplement with. And I do feel like, but I was so drawn to the story and how it focused on the people that are left and how everyone deals with it in a different way. I love that there was so much light inside of the grief journey, but showing all of the different facets of it. And just so humbled and scared and appreciative of having this opportunity for someone to change course and offer to rewrite the role for a different gender. And that he asked me to do. It was just such an honor. So the experience itself, so that's the lead up to that, but the experience itself was fast and furious. Like he said, I mean, we did shoot, I mean, this is at least a month long in a normal world, a month long shooting schedule. And so to do it in such a condensed way was challenging. And, I had a broken toe and
Oh my God,
all these other weird things happened.
Trooper, this woman was a persevering trooper. All right, hold on. I need to take a quick break, but keep talking, Allison. I need to deal stuff with my kids, but give me like 5 minutes. Allison, tell all the juicy stuff that you can say without me being on. Go.
Okay.
How did you break your toe? Like,
I know.
you broke your toe on set?
I've broken my toe twice when I've been working on films, both toes now. So it's just like sort of,
no,
I have to walk around in a bubble. As soon as I book something, I'm like, okay, I'm not leaving the house. Yeah. And he was so supportive too. And we just made it work. But obviously Charlene has to dance in the film. And so that was something where, and just so supportive. I mean, we're talking about the cast and crew. There was someone that was standing there like offering me a chair, so that like when the camera rolled, I could just kind of put it out of my mind. It's amazing, mind over matter in that way. And then as soon as I was done, I just had support, but I was on my feet and 13 days again, it's just such a whirlwind of a trip. So it's physically and mentally quite exhausting. I was in every scene of the movie. So from that perspective, there's not a lot of downtime on that. So, so just kind of throwing myself into the experience and just feeling, and Tony, I wish he was here to hear this, but just very supportive when, I would get stuck or if I was having my own actor moments and personal moments. He was just incredibly supportive. Like Allie was alluding to, it's a very different experience with Tony as than a lot of other directors that I've worked with in that sense, that it is a very personal, caring about the human being and their journey inside of the role, which is just very unique for me too. And I'd worked with him before. So being able to do that on something so complex and so time constrained. And then we've been riding this ride in film festival land ever since. And, and he's such a joy to be partnering with.
So what has it been like going to the different film festivals, like showing this film, like what has been the reaction like to the audience and like, what have they been saying? Like,
It's been incredible because it's amazing to me how many people have been touched by not by grief. I mean, it's everyone that you encounter. It's not a 6 degree of separation. It's a 1 degree. Everyone has that story, but by suicide, because of the subject matter, hearing from different people that were specifically impacted by that loss or have gone through their own mental health struggles. And so it opened doors for really brave conversations and vulnerable conversations with people who are regular moviegoers. Or as an actor, that's wild, right? So it's not, and so much cooler than like, oh, you were great in the movie. It was like, oh, this is what the movie did for me. And this is what it felt like. And so those people that I knew personally, but also just people that were just regular moviegoers, that's profound and super important. And so it was just a very different experience because it was such a human thing. And, you know, so it's sort of like, oh, it's also a pretty good movie. And, oh, you're pretty good in it. You know, that part is so neat as a young actor, but the other stuff was meaningful on a different way.
Question for you, because Tony is such a supportive director, were there any scenes in the movie where you were just like, oh, Tony, can we try it this way? Or did you ever like were there any suggestions that you made, you know, to really make your character and the story and the scene come alive?
It's such a great question. From the script writing, we met several times, and he helped me work through, and we worked together through some of the things in the script. He's very open to improvising as well too, which happened a lot on set. And so it was really fun to step into her shoes and then see what would happen. So there was a lot of stuff pre-shooting and during shooting that he's very collaborative in that way. A lot was on the page, but there was a lot of things that happened in the moment. And one in particular, the fountain scene with Dino and Charlene, it was supposed to be a really light scene where she laughed hysterically about her, I won't spoil it, but about this experience that she had with the brownies. And I just couldn't, I was really stuck as an actor, and it was a very scary moment for me. Something didn't feel right. And so I had this experience of letting the filmmaker down. And, you know, it was a really hard, you know, scary thing as an actor, and I was stuck. And he was so patient, so much more patient than I was being with myself. And he's like, we're going to get it. And just allowing the improv to happen, allowing whatever would happen to happen. And Dino, played by CJ Matthews, who's an incredible actor and supporter on set, just jumped in with me and was just letting the scene take it where it took. And I got in my car after that scene and I was destroyed because I felt like I did not give him what he wanted, you know, and I felt terrible. I felt like I let everyone down. And he comes over to my door as I'm leaving, and I'm like, and just said, I just want you to know that I wouldn't let you leave if we didn't get it. Like just trying to make, you know, give me that he trusts me and I need to trust him. And it was such a wonderful, again, human thing where it's like, okay, I'm not going to do that for film set, but then he allowed me and gave me the space for that. And then the way that the scene turned out, I'm pretty excited about, because it was something that really I felt like was layered and messy, which is where I think Charlene was at that time. And so it all kind of worked out the way that it should, but it would not have been for him just holding space for me as an actor and a person to like freak out, but then just giving that structure and support to get it, you know, and so the trust that I don't have in myself sometimes and in others, you know, it just sort of was very meta in that way. Right.
I love that you share that, because I feel like, you know, there are probably like actors who are going to watch this where they also, you know, feel stuck sometimes. And, you know, like, don't be so hard on yourself, because seriously, it's like, I feel like we are our worst critic. Like when we saw the scene, it looked good. It came out, you know, and people who haven't seen the film yet, you know, like, you'll be able to see what scene she was talking about. But I mean, it came together. I thought it looked great. You know,
that's so cool.
You did a great job. And it's
just
and that's
so Tony, you know, that's just trusting the person who's guiding you, you know, and it was a profound experience for me. The filming of this changed my life as an actor as well too. Like in terms of the self, like the self-doubt and the and also just the collaboration between myself and a director too. And so it was just, it was meaningful in so many ways. It really, from a career perspective and an actor perspective, like, was, you know, kind of life-changing in a not so underestimated way, you know?
And Tony, like, this was your first feature film, right?
That's
Oh
my
my
first
gosh.
feature.
So share like what the process has been like for you, just from like a distribution standpoint, from like, you know, having it be seen at the festivals, like what are some of the things that you've learned from making your first feature film? Like what are some things that, you know, like for our other filmmakers who are watching this, what are things that you wish you would have done different? You know, things that you were like, oh, so good that I did this.
Yeah, let me try to reduce that, 5-hour long conversation we could have into just a few minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all filmmakers, you need to make a feature. You do. You got to crank it out. You got to.
Absolutely.
It's grueling, but you do have to do it to be able to move forward. I think I was kind of caught up in making tons and tons of short films,
which you are so good at doing, by the way.
Thank you. And yeah, I've showed 2 of my shorts at this fest, which is great. But I also was waiting. So that film I referenced earlier called The Thorns We Live With, I've been waiting. Another one called 33 Days, waiting, these other features to get the money, and it never came. And so I made Last Chance Charlene with what I could muster up. We started production without having like 70% of what we needed, and a friend of mine kicked in like during the filmmaking to be able to finish it, and everybody worked for pennies. And some of the things I learned is, putting it on the calendar does help. We've heard this before, I'm sure, that if you're waiting and you're moving the date, forward like a month or 2 or a year, it'll never get made. Just put it on the calendar and be honest with people. Have contracts really clear, like we can only pay you $100 a day or $200 a day, or whatever it is, and people will show up. We had 90% of our cast and crew showed up, and there's 10% who didn't, who complained, who even I had someone who volunteered, like, I'll work for free, and then I said, no, I'll pay you, and then that person ended up kind of burning my butt, and things happen. Bridges get burned sometimes, and you find out who's really with you and who's not. And I learned a ton about this communication and finding and hiring the right people. And sometimes you have to fire people. You do in this business.
Absolutely.
You do have to fire people, and it is a business. But I also want to do things with my friends. And when you work with your friends, you have to communicate well. So I wrote a whole blog about it if you want to check it out.
Yes. What is the blog?
Yeah, bravemaker.com. Check it out. Bravemaker.com. We have a blog. I wrote all the things that I learned and things that I would, do different. It's still in process. So it comes out in February of 2023 through Freestyle Digital Media. And that's been a learning process too. I just wasn't prepared in a lot of ways. I did have a lawyer, but I should have gotten way more things prepped. And our producers were all first-time producers, and you got to cut your teeth somewhere. I produced it too. So it's partly on me, is knowing I didn't know a lot of things. I didn't know I should have had every single location, even my house, even my landlord, even like I need sign-offs on all these things, for insurance purposes. And it's just a lot of work that nobody really talks about when you're trying to get your film out and distributed. You have to have all your, T's crossed and your I's dotted. Otherwise it's just like a stalling, it's
Wait,
stalling.
what do you mean? Like you had to have like your locations, like your own house signed off?
Yeah, exactly. So we filmed at my house. So my house in the film is Ayla's house. And in order to get what's called E&O insurance, errors and omissions, you have to prove that you have all of these people's sign-offs, even, your locations, not just the cast who are seen. You have to have locations that have given you permission, because, they want to protect from being sued. So if we filmed at a cafe called Ciclismo Cafe in Redwood City, I had to have the permission of the owner so that eventually they couldn't come back and sue us that we didn't have permission to film there. And you just don't think about that stuff, right?
Yeah, not
the next time I will totally have that. We know actors need to sign off, but locations, like we filmed at Allison's house, and one of our producers had to get her to sign off like just about a month ago so we could get this thing, distributed. It's so much work, and it's all worth it, but you kind of lose a little bit of your soul with that business part. And I wish I had just a kind of a more preparation and more people to have helped make it all happen. Would have been great.
But you know what? Like you mentioned earlier, like you're telling filmmakers, just do it. It's like, because you just did it, look at all of this wisdom and this knowledge that you gleaned from doing it,
Yeah.
so that now the next time you make a feature, which I know you're going to make another feature, you know what to do. And not only that, but it's like, I love what you said about just like, all the people, like, like about 10% of the people you had, like, you had to fire people, you had a falling out with people. It's like, well, guess what? Those people aren't going to go on your journey with you. And the
Right.
people who busted their butts and like they did a great job, like you're going to bring them along with you. And guess what? You're going to be that much more efficient. You're going to be that much more ready for like the next project. It's like that whole thing. You're faithful with little, you'll be faithful with much. You're dishonest with little, like you're going to be dishonest with much. So it's like, I almost feel like this was like, and not only that, for your first feature film, Tony, you've gotten into some pretty great festivals, right? You've gotten really good exposure for this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I just feel
so happy.
like,
thank you.
yes. And so it's like the insurance thing that you shared, like that's huge, like learning about that, like I just feel like, we saw you, Tony, in the film, you do play a character in the film. I mean, can we expect to see more of you as an actor? Because I know Tony personally, just because like he did share his like, short films with us like several years ago. And I know that, when I sat down with Tony did mention wanting to get into acting. And, it's like, as an actor, we are living in different times. It's like, it's all about like creating opportunities for yourself. It's just for your mental health instead of just waiting around for someone to choose you. It's like, it's so much more. We live in a time where it's like, we are empowered to be able to create these opportunities for ourselves. Like, like Tony, like what are some roles that you want to see like for yourself? And same question for you, Allison, like what are some roles that you want to create for yourself?
It's so hard to talk about this, but the rejection is so huge, and we all know this. It's like we all roll our eyes. Like, yes, we know you have to have a thick skin. Yes, you have to put yourself out there and hear a million no's, but it doesn't get any easier, and it's so humbling. I've been in this business for quite a long time. I have an agent, here in San Francisco, and they're doing as much as they can do, but they can't force anybody to cast me. And so I've been on so many auditions in my life, and I probably book one or two things a year, and that's so sad.
Yeah.
And then you start to question, like, do I have anything to offer? I must suck. So I write stuff for myself.
Shut those voices down. Just shut it down, Tony.
I know, for real. When you're writing, you're writing and you're producing and you're directing, and then you're also putting yourself as an actor. It's like, come on, dude, spread the love a little bit. But I'm like, if I don't do it, nobody else will. If I don't put myself in my stuff, I won't be acting. So I just wrote a short film, and I just acted in it and directed and produced it. Like, and I started, and I was like, dang it, I'm going to do it because I
love it
to do that for myself. That doesn't mean I wouldn't like other people to cast me. I'm really interested in horror stuff. So I would love to, be in a horror film. I'm just trying to, like, one step at a time, move forward. I've got a bunch of films that I don't have a plan to be in. Allison's in my next feature film, hopefully, that I can get off the ground. And I love this. So if you're watching this and you want to make films with us, the great thing is Brave Maker is a nonprofit. So all of the funding that came in for Last Chance Charlene was all tax deductible because we're doing it through our charity, through the nonprofit side. Yeah.
And Allison, how about you? Like, what are some of the stories that you want to cast yourself for? Like, what are the opportunities that you wish you were given that you were never given? And so you're just gonna, I really encourage actors, like, this is what you need to do. You need to create these opportunities for yourself because nobody else is gonna, like give you these opportunities necessarily.
Yeah, it's a different world now of being in I had to join the union. I know that sounds terrible. Most actors are like, getting their SAG card is a mecca. But for me, it was very bittersweet because I was in an HBO Christmas movie that forced me to join. And I'm like, oh, this is a good reason to join. And then all my lines were cut. So, it's such an interest of the big leagues, that I'm just now starting to audition for big things and haven't booked one of those yet. And so it is bittersweet in that I love the indie world. It's harder to cut you if you're in every scene or in a lot of the scenes, right? And I got to choose, like, there's a movie that still hasn't come out yet where I play, a gun for hire, and like my back of my head is shaved. And I just got to play this whole other part that I hope that movie sees the light of day. So cool. Having those experiences only would have existed in the indie world, right? Like, like my agent's not even going to send me out for that. And it was and I was good in it. And so like the parts that I like don't fit my casting. Like they're a little more dark and messed up. But I've been able to, I mean, there's a film coming out that I just did where I get to play someone a little more complicated. So those are my fun roles, but I'm just beginning. I feel like in terms of the stuff that I'm doing, I am still new. And so for me, I would kill to be on like Law and Order, right? I'd be like a really good DA or something, but this is all happening in the future. So it's not like I haven't gotten to do that I've been told no. It's just, I've been told no a lot, and a yes will come for the right things. But it is your opportunity or your power to select is very limited once you join the union and once you have an agent who's putting you out for things. It's so the content and the roles are what you fit for. And so that is something that as an actor, I have to go and find and create opportunities that are indie within the SAG world. And Tony is a perfect representation of that, because his films are union, and so they have all those protections and the status, but they're still interesting. So that's the hunt that I'll be on, while I still do the auditions that I do, is to find those filmmakers who are telling important stories, that have diverse casts, that have diverse crews. As a white entitled woman, like being able to tell other stories, like being able to lift stories for other groups of people that are marginalized and don't have the opportunity. Like I'm all for that. So it's just finding those, within the world.
And I love that. It's
Cast
like
Allison.
And it's like, and the thing is, it's just like, I love what you both share just about you have these opportunities that you're creating so that now, like these, crazy, like different roles that you're doing in these indie films, right? These opportunities that you're giving yourself, like you're showing your agents, you're showing the industry, hey, like I can do this. And here is my real showing that I can do this. It's like, now that's what you have. And the thing is, like, Tony, what you shared about, people being able to give tax deductible, like donations and giving towards like a project, like that's huge, because, if being a nonprofit was so easy, like everybody would do it, and so just the fact that you actually are like there, you are a legitimate like nonprofit organization now, like helping to tell these stories, like as like tech professionals who are like, potential investors, that is a huge appeal. It's like, it's the end of the year. People are thinking about, okay, how can I like minimize like the amount of taxes that I'm going to be owing in April? It's just like, everybody knows that giving is a huge, huge thing, right? So it's like, and it's like, not only that, you're not just giving, but you're giving potentially towards, like something that could be used to help you. So it's like, I tell tech investors all the time, like a lot of these people in the tech world, maybe they themselves like wanted to be actors at one point or wanted to get into filmmaking, but they never, pursued it. It's like, this is the perfect opportunity, linking up and hooking up with these filmmakers, these, production companies. And, because it's like, I myself, the whole reason why I started this festival was because me as an actor, I wasn't getting the opportunities that I wanted to tell. And then at these festivals, you meet these filmmakers and you hear about the projects that they're working on, and multiple times I was like, okay, well, I'll executive produce your project on the condition that you cast me in your project. And
I love that. Good for you.
Yes. And the thing is, like, even with you, Tony, it's just like you play, like multiple roles, like, when you hear, like and this is why I want you to go through the speed networking, not only as, like a filmmaker, but I want you to go through where you yourself get to meet filmmakers, because what if a filmmaker is talking about this project that they want to tell that you yourself really resonate with, like you could be like, hey, I want to come on board. I'll come on board as a producer. I have my nonprofit organization. I will do that on the condition that you cast me as this role. It's like, I feel like we as actors need to advocate for ourselves.
Yep,
And I
yep.
feel like you need to always be looking for those opportunities. And
Wow.
I feel like Tony, especially, like, you have set yourself up now where you have a lot to give. You have a lot to offer these filmmakers now. Hey, I have a nonprofit organization. Hey, like, I have all this experience making a feature film. Like, I know how to produce the film. I know the thing. So it's like, I just
Yeah.
feel like you should never underestimate like all of this knowledge. Like, this knowledge is like currency, in this day.
And Tony's helped like first time filmmakers, like women, they're, an over 40 in my age bracket woman who'd
Yes.
never made a film, how old is, like young woman who's never made a film before. Like, he's helped put people on the map in that way through Bravemaker. And it's not just, oh, I can be in a film, because because his projects are specifically around important, brave stories that matter.
Yes.
It also has that other benefit, right, of being on that side of the world. Sorry. And so that's super special too. And look, what you just said about tech people who are, oh, I've never done this before. I acted for a short moment when I was, 19. It didn't go great. I ran from it. And then 20 years later, I started taking classes again, and I'm in tech. I'm a recruiter in my day job. And like,
that's awesome.
so this is becoming
That's
a very
so
busy
awesome.
hobby, but someone who, that voice was always there. Like, I shut it down completely, and then allowing that to come back in. And so I love what you're doing with this film festival and this organization, because it doesn't have to be one or the other, right? You can have passion and creativity in your world and still have the day job or what have you too. So I love the combination of those things. And also too, like Bravemaker, a lot of the stuff is filmed here in the Bay Area, leveraging resources here, which is super rare, right? And so as an actor, Christina too, it's fun to have that in your own backyard.
Yes. Okay, so from this conversation, I'm literally going to put Tony and Allison, I'm going to put you both in to our mix of speed networking, so you yourselves can meet some of the filmmakers as well. Because it's like, fun. I just feel like because it's like, you both can bring so much value to these filmmakers. And that is the point of these speed networking events. Fun. It's like, how are people providing value to each other, right?
Yep.
So neat. Happy to do it. Have fun.
Yeah, definitely throw us in. And the providing value thing, I'll just say one of the other things I've learned and taken away as I've made my first feature is, yes, finances are a value. And I really do believe that actors should be using their resources to fund films. My first 2 films that I helped produce, I used some of my inheritance from my grandmother, who died in this tragic way to suicide. Yep. And I made some films and I made some relationships. And I get a little concerned sometimes when I hear filmmakers afraid to use their own money. I go, even if it's like $100, $500, put some of your own money into your filmmaking. Absolutely. Invest in yourself, right? That's really important. But then don't limit yourself to going, it's just finances. You have, like Allison used her house. I used my house. Use your stuff, use your life, use in a good way. Partner with your friends and ask, your uncle who owns a gym. There are so many ways to make a movie. It's not just money, but money is important. You need to do it. And I would encourage you to leverage your own finances. But remember, you have a myriad of ways to bring value to other people in this entertainment industry.
And Tony, like through his relationships, was able to get, like he said, those locations, which dramatically increase the value, the budget value, the production value of the film, while not increasing the actual budget, right? Yes. Because he was able to leverage those relationships and people could give in that way. And so I 100% agree with that for sure.
I'd say the only location we had to pay for was $100 donation for the cemetery. That's the only amount of money we paid for our locations.
Isn't that nuts?
That's incredible.
I know. So incredible. He's a hustler in an amazing way. Like, he just goes after it and he knows what to do. And I learned so much from watching him do his thing,
And honestly, because of this work ethic, this is why I truly believe that it is only a matter of time,
I'm with you on that. And his next script is out of this freaking world. I mean, he has so many good ideas, all of this stuff that I know he's working on. I just have like this deep, like love for one of these scripts in particular, The Thorns We Live By. So I'm just really, I agree with you that it's only a matter of time. I just, it won't come soon enough for Tony in my mind, like he deserves it. And, everything, he makes it all happen. And I'm excited for his future for sure.
And and not only that, but just like as people of faith, because I know that Tony is also a man of faith, but it's just like you also have to believe that if things aren't happening right now, it's just plainly because like you're not ready. It's not the right time right now. Because like think about if things would have like just happened for you, so easily. Would you have ever learned how to produce? Would you have ever learned all these other skills? Like, no, you wouldn't have, And it's like you see all these like, A-list actors who are in everything. And then now all of a sudden they're not doing anything. And the thing is, it's like that's just the way that this industry works. You're either really busy or you're really not. But the thing is, like, because you have all of this knowledge, all of these skills, it's like when you do get on the map, guess what? You're going to continue to stay on the map because you know how to create, opportunities for yourself. And it's like because you've had that one project that immediately gets you recognition, that people can recognize you from. Now, all of a sudden, you're ready with your arsenal of films to put out there into the world. And, now it's like people recognize you for them, so it's like, this is why I firmly believe that it's just, again, a matter of time. And what are you doing, preparing for when that time comes?
It's good. I heard Kevin Bacon on a podcast. Someone asked him, what's the secret to your success? And he said, the secret is perseverance. That's really the only secret. You just have to keep going. That's it. Keep going. Do not give up. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Before we leave, tell us, where do we find you? Like, Tony, share the blog where you wrote about your film, like share with us the socials where people can get connected with you. And you too, Allison, like where can people get connected to you? Where can people find you?
Yeah, ours is pretty simple. We're bravemaker.com. Bravemaker.com is our website. The blog is on there. We have a bravemaker.com/lastchanceCharlene link. You can find out more about the film there. We have a soundtrack on Spotify with we had all indie artists with their music on there, which was really cool. We have some t-shirts and some merch on that link, but at bravemaker.com/lastchanceCharlene. The most important thing is we have a film discussion guide. We partner with some grief specialists, Yadav and Hanlon, who created a whole PDF to help people process grief and process the film with some really cool questions to help dive into some of the characters and their journeys. So that's at bravemaker.com, all that stuff. And then on socials, we're bravemaker.org at Instagram and Twitter. And you can find me, Tony Gapastione, just TonyGapas. You'll find me. And I'm very accessible on social media. Would love to help meet other filmmakers and actors, and any way that we can help partner with Bravemaker, I am open to it.
I'm at Ewing Allison on Instagram, and you can find me there. And on Facebook, I'm building a website, but the Instagram is the easiest way. I'm just getting into it. I'm old. I'm a Facebooker, so Instagram's new for me, but I'm on there.
Find her on Instagram, and then just in the future, she will let you know where to go once she has those things built out.
Yeah, great.
Awesome. Well, you guys, thank you so much for your time today. And for our audience, I look forward for you all to check out Last Chance Charlene, and be sure to connect with Tony, Allison, and you can connect with Allie through Tony. And enjoy the rest of the festival, everyone.
Thank you, Christina. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.